trying to trick them is not in your best interests. So, my first tip is always start small and realistic. I think sometimes people want to do too much with SEO. They read a book, and they want to go after the most competitive term in their space. It's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to cause a lot of frustration. So if you're going to be doing SEO for yourselves, one of my big recommendations is start small and be realistic. I'll tell you what I did for myself. When we first started off as an SEO company, I didn't target words like SEO company or SEO agency or consultant or whatever. I targeted words like Philadelphia, SEO, because I'm from Philly. I knew it would be less competitive than trying to compete with every darn SEO company in the globe to try to rank well for some of those terms. So if you want to learn and you're learning how SEO works, I would strongly recommend that you start small and very realistic so that you don't totally give up. So that's the example. SEO Moz, who you'll see me reference a couple times throughout the presentation, they do a really good job. How many of you are subscribers or visit SEO Moz regularly? If you don't, and you're here, so that means you're interested in SEO at some level, you should visit their blog. There's a couple of blogs that I read every day, and one of them is definitely going to be SEO Moz. They've got some really good tools over there. They've kind of switched to a little bit of a paid model, so a lot of my free tools I usually give out are unfortunately now paid. But they still have some great tools. Obviously, you want to stay relevant. People have this mentality that the more words I go after, the better. Wrong. There are many terms out there I'd rather start for, maybe 10, 15 if you're starting off, and to go after, than try to judge your success on going after 50, 60, 100, 200,000 keywords. I just think it's a bad idea, and I think it's going to ultimately be a waste of your time. You're going to spread yourself a little too thin. And here's what always gets me a little bit of trouble. People say, well, you're not supposed to buy links, but yet you say, buy links. Well, think about it. You know what? Let's be honest. There's a lot of bullshit out there. And people say, well, don't buy links. Well, if everybody above you is buying links and ranking well, what are you going to do, sit on your hands until Google eventually comes around and figures it out? That doesn't sound like a really good business practice to me, to wait until Google catches other people. They can't even figure out the difference between a singular and a plural. Do you think they're really going to catch every single person that's doing it? So you've got to look at the people above you. Run a link analysis on them. How many of their links are coming from directories? How many of them are coming from things like pay-per-post? Do I say you should do them as your main SEO strategy? Hell no. But if that's what they're doing to rank well, you might, unfortunately, have to play in that game for a little while. But what you should be doing is using those other tactics like video, stumble upon, dig, delicious, blogs, whatever it might be, to get your ratio in a better number so that you've got more good links versus your bad ones. I know it causes a lot of stink. People say, well, I'm told not to buy these links. But to be honest, if everybody above you is ranking well, like how do you beat somebody if they're in front of you in a race? You run faster, right? That's what buying links is right now. It's running faster. Sometimes you just don't have a choice. Yes? Do I advise people who don't pay their taxes to not, or who do I recommend that other people cheat on their taxes? The answer to that is I'm not an accountant. I'm an SEO. So therefore, because I'm not an accountant, I don't know what to tell people on that. I do know I've been doing this for a long time, and I've seen it happen for so many sites, and I know it works. You know what I think it is? I think it's a waste of your time if I come up on this stage right now and say, go build some good content, thank you, click, throw it. Because you know what? You walk out of here going, well, I knew that. How do I get better rankings? That's what I'm here for. If Google catches you buying links, that's what I'm talking about with your ratio. Because think about it. Think about it, people. This isn't crazy. I could go and buy 1,000 links to Jason's site tomorrow. Is it going to get banned? No. Right? It's not. It's not, because Google's actually somehow, I don't know, but they're smart enough to know. Otherwise, wouldn't that be a great strategy? How many people in here want to go, send out to India, get 200 links per every domain of your competitors, and watch them tank and you rise to the top? Could it happen? Yeah, so there's got to be some way in there that Google allows a certain ratio, and no one knows the ratio. I don't know the ratio. I try to get as many quality links as I can for my clients, but sometimes in the beginning, when you look at who's ranking above them, you kind of don't necessarily have the total choice, because you know what? If somebody's paying me and I go, I'm just waiting for Google to figure out this linking thing, but keep paying us to help you, they're going to be like, that kind of sounds like a bit of a scam, which is why the whole SEO is bullshit thing kind of started. Because SEOs are freaking scammers. Most of the people that sit here, myself not included, I don't think, I like to deliver results for my clients, but most people really don't do this job well, and they spout off a lot of bad advice. And when it comes to buying links, do I say you should do it? Yes, I say you should do it, because the other people above you are doing it to rank well. And it's not a good strategy to sit on your hands and watch your competitors pummel you while you're like, I'm following the rules, but because nobody knows it, I'm on page 30. Yes? Well, that's because you've developed great content. But I think as a recommendation, how many people in here would be like, you know what, Will, that was a great speech. If I came in here and said, go build great content. Good night, thank you. How many of you would be like, I'm so glad that I was here and heard him say, go build great content? Who? Because I'll say it right now, go build great content. Leave. Not all of us have that option. I don't. So, there was times when I did buy a lot of links, but guess what I did? I started doing things like speaking at conferences. I started going to local universities and talking to their students about doing internet marketing, how to do it in a way that would help them rank well, how to help them go get jobs. And those things started happening. So what started happening? The local universities around the Philadelphia area started linking to our site, saying, hey, we did a conference on this, and this guy was the featured speaker. Here's a link. So now we've got links from sites like Penn or Villanova or wherever out in the Philly area that help us rank well because we're getting good quality links. But you better believe in the beginning there was a time when that's how we had to get them, because I couldn't idly sit on my hands and watch people who were gaming the system beat us. But I knew I wanted to long-term create out-of-the-box strategies that weren't just buying directory links to help us get more legitimate ones so that we had a better ratio, so that someone also couldn't just come in and buy a bunch of links and tank us too. Sure. I'm too busy helping other people create good content. No, the idea of creating good content, this is great content, right? Video, it's great. So fortunately we have a YouTube channel up, and it's got our videos up there, and it's got a link over to our site, which is no followed. But I tend to believe when you're future-proofing your SEO strategy, somehow Google knows. You know what? This YouTube channel from Sear gets a lot of subscriptions. It gets a lot of people voting on it. It gets a lot of people embedding it. And I'm hoping is the only word I can say. I'm hoping that influences it. But it makes sense, and that's why I'm trying to connect the dots for you guys right now. It makes sense that Google would use our YouTube channel that gets tons of subscribers, tons of visitors, tons of links to it, to influence how our site ranks well, even though that link is no followed. Maybe make a little bit of sense, I hope. But like I said, I'm hoping. I'm not going to be one of those people to tell you definitively, yes, it's going to make an impact. But it's what we're doing, and for our niche, we tend to do pretty good on some rankings in terms we're going after. Yeah, Joe.
As far as paid directory, is there anything you've seen over the last year or so, added to the bad list? Because there are paid directories that you guys can clear up and see.
I tend to, when I'm doing any paid directory listings, I start first with the ones that actually have